Hi, I'm TaLynn Kel, and today I am with Maya Gardner.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks.
We are at Stonecrest Library, where we just participated in a panel for 28 Days of Black Cosplay. We talked about being a black cosplayer, and we kind of Afrofuturism, but mainly about cosplay.
Absolutely.
So what'd you think of the panel?
I really enjoyed it. I loved the kind of conversational tone that it took. I thought it was a great opportunity for cosplayers at different levels who do different characters, who have gotten into cosplay in different ways, to be able to share what we love to do with an audience that seemed really engaged.
Very much so. Very much so. So how long have you been cosplaying?
Oh boy. Honestly, I've always loved dressing up in costume, like since I was a little kid. But in terms of actually going to conventions and putting work into costumes, I would say it's probably started around 2009. I was laid off of the Great Recession, and there was I'm a salsa dancer, so my annual trek was to New York for the New York Salsa Congress, Labor Day weekend. And I had been told for many years by my geek friends who I love, oh my gosh, Maya, you have to go to Dragon Con. It is home base for you. Like, you will feel at home immediately. You've got to go. And I'm like, guys, you already know. I mean, Labor Day weekend's the New York Salsa Congress. The one I got laid off, I really had to cut some corners and wasn't able to make the trip. And so after many years of being told about how great Dragon Con was, I finally went for the first time, and I've never looked back.
I think a lot of us have had that experience. So did you cosplay your first time?
Absolutely. So my very first, I've always loved Wonder Woman. It's like this thing. And I commissioned a costume. I had it made, because I was told like the level of cosplay is amazing, and I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to attempt to try to make something. So I absolutely had one commissioned. It's season 2, Linda Carter, and I fell in love with it the minute I put it on, and that's pretty much, I think, the only character I did that year, because the reception was incredible and it felt amazing, and to just be in that environment and be able to express myself that way and not be looked at as some sort of weirdo.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to take it off, even when I got home. And to be honest with you, the first year, I live about 1.25 miles from the Dragon Con hotels, and I decided I wasn't going to get a host hotel the first year because I'm like, I live right down the street. It's a mile. Come on, I can walk that. And I made the mistake of actually making the walk down Edgewood Avenue in my Wonder Woman costume.
Oh.
In my season 2 Linda Carter, in my star-spangled bloomer glory. And wow, I ended up walking by a school bus, and it didn't go very well.
I can only imagine.
So I've learned my lesson, and now it is almost like a staycation for me. I get the host hotel, and I have friends that come from all over the country, and it is a huge, I think someone said on the panel, huge family reunion every year, and never look back.
So you said something that kind of stood out to me, and that was about the reception that you got for your Wonder Woman costume, so cosplay. So how much does the reception have to do with what you choose to cosplay?
Honestly, initially very little, if none. I mean, if there's a character that I enjoy and that I feel some sort of connection to, I'm going to do the character. When I did the Diana Prince Rogers Nelson mashup, original concept cosplay, I didn't even know if people were going to get it, much less, respond to it. But it was something I wanted to do. So, however, once you do the costume and you do the cosplay, and you go out, and it's almost like that the reception just helps further fuel you. It's the same when I see cosplays that I just really enjoy, I go out of my way to make sure that that person knows, whether I'm asking for a photo or just my sheer reaction, because I know that joy when someone really understands and appreciates what you've done, whether you've commissioned it and, you know, worked hard to make sure that, you know, every detail looks good on you, or whether you've taken the time to create it, or, you know, however much work that you put into it. It really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it is something that is important and special to you and an extension of your personal expression. Therefore, it's a part of you. It becomes a part of you. And yeah, having people acknowledge and appreciate that extension of that part of you that you've put that work into, there really aren't any words to describe it.
I mean, I totally get it. The way I look at it is, I'm like, I'm going to do it. It's nice if you like it, but I don't care if you don't.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's almost like you already got a nice little sundae, and okay, there's a cherry on top. But you didn't really need the cherry, because you got the fudge, and you got the brownies, and you got the ice cream, and you got everything else. So yeah, it's a nice to have. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. Okay. So do you participate in any other panels at conventions?
I believe this is probably my first panel that I participated on as a panelist. I was involved with the very first year of Spartacon, which was a Spartacus-based convention in Maryland. And I put together a cosplay panel in concert with a group out of DC. So I wrote questions, and I kind of put that panel together, but I've never actually been on a panel before. It's funny you asked that, because I really hadn't thought about it until just now. I'm glad that you did not ask me that before the panel, because then I would have been psyched out, like, oh my gosh, I've never been on a panel before.
No, it's just conversation. Panels are fun.
They are fun, yeah, and I agree with you. I'm a very active participant, so maybe that's why it feels like I've been on one before, because I ask a lot of questions.
There you go. That's how I am. When I'm in the audience, I'm just like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're the one that they're looking at, like, the panelists are like, yes, we appreciate it, because the audience is engaged.
Yeah,
and like you said,
sometimes I'm too engaged. Like, sometimes people have been like, I think you about to curse somebody out. And I'm like, I'm not, because there are kids in here. But I want to.
You know what I'm thinking.
You can see it on my face, because you just messed up.
I think we've all been there.
Well, it has been a pleasure meeting you.
Likewise.
And actually being on the panel with you. It's funny that we've both been in the Atlanta cosplay scene for years and never really kind of connected, but that just tells you, one, how big the community here is. It is a lot bigger than people realize. And two, you know, just, I like things that happen organically. Like, a lot of times I see people and they're like, no, I need to meet that cosplayer and that, and I'm like, or maybe your circles will just bump into each other, and then you can see if y'all actually like each other.
Yeah.
It feels much better when that happens.
I absolutely agree. And I gotta say, I mean, there were a couple of people on the panel today that I met exactly that way. And whenever I see these folks, it's like it's meeting up with friends again, instead of, okay, we have this hobby in common. You almost kind of forget, like, because you connect as individuals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, thank you again. Happy 28 Days of Black Cosplay.
Happy 28 Days of Black Cosplay.
And have a great rest of the weekend.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Thank you.